Hey guys, welcome to Auckland Weekly. This week I'm talking to Charlotte. She is a triathlete. She's also a lecturer. She's also studying at uni, and she is a PICU nurse. We will go over sort of what those things are and why you should care or what they're about. It's pretty insane. She's definitely more relaxed than you would think. She's going to Worlds, I think, in about a month and a half now. So she has a lot on her plate, and she's very busy and she's very motivated, but she still has a very relaxed mindset, which I quite admire, because I don't think I'm doing as much as her, and my mindset is way more focused on goals, stress, but she's so relaxed and just driven without the stress component of it, which I think is quite cool. So I think that's what I'm going to try and learn from this episode, because I know I want to have takeaways from these episodes. And I'm also wondering if you guys would like to give me feedback on these episodes. You can send me that on Instagram or leave a review on the podcast. I would also love if you would subscribe. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I will leave Charlotte's details in the show notes, links to her social medias, all that kind of stuff. Sweet as. So enjoy the episode, guys, and have a good night.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than
Everybody
you.
has time. Stop watching vlogs.
I love what I do, and that's why I'm doing what I love.
Hey guys, welcome to Auckland Weekly. This week I'm here with Charlotte Young. Charlotte, how did you get into this whole thing? How did you become a triathlete? How did you do these kinds of things? What was the first, how did you get to where you are today, and what was the journey that you've taken to get there?
So I guess, like a lot of people, I did sports because my friends did. Well, actually, originally I did running because my sister did, and I wanted to be like her.
Yeah.
So I think I was third or fourth form. And my sister, they had a distance squad at school. My sister went along, and I was like, oh, I want to be like her.
Yeah.
So I went along as well, and I was a terrible runner all the way until seventh form, and I was probably still not very good then. I think I couldn't even run like 2K. And then at seventh form, I was starting to go along to the club running because a lot of my friends went. And then, I got more involved in club running and wanted to get more involved and hang out with my friends more because they were running at the club on the weekend. So I just went along and did that too. And then kind of the main catalyst for me in becoming more competitive was that I met my now fiance. So he is a very, very good runner. He was the New Zealand cross-country champion last year. And so kind of me being quite mediocre and him being really good really encouraged me. But I was still kind of did it half-heartedly until I got really sick of like standing in the rain every single weekend just watching him race. And then when I didn't race, I came like last or second to last. So I started with his coach, started training properly, did really well. And then I got to a point where I wasn't really getting into the elite level. Like I was nearly there, but I just couldn't get there. And I was at uni, and I was about to start my start work, and I just thought, there's no way I can get there now. Like it's quite a lot of work. So I decided to do triathlon for a bit of a break. It was maybe 2013 or 14. I think it was 2014 was my first season, and I just went into it thinking, I'll give it a go. I just wanted a break from running, from that whole kind of community, try something different. And it worked out really well. I really enjoyed it. I just borrowed like a bike from my brother, and just my friends helped me, swim, and joined the squad with my friend, the triathlon squad. And then, I really enjoyed it. So I went kind of all out, and that's where I am now, going to Worlds in 2 months.
How did you go from being just pure runner to triathlete? Because I myself, I'm quite a heavy runner. Right now, I was training for Auckland Marathon, but I'm just trying to keep my knees intact right now. But how do you go from being a pure runner to being a swimmer and a cyclist? Because for myself, I can find I can cycle all right, but my swimming is absolutely atrocious. How do you go from that?
Yeah, so sorry. Before I couldn't even swim at all. So I just went along to the swim squads, the local YMCA, and there was a coach there and she taught me how to swim properly. I remember some days after squad she would like wait back with me and teach me proper form, and I just kept going along. So it's taken quite a while. It took me about a year to really get the hang of things, and even then you get the hang of things in the pool and you've got to go to the ocean and it's completely different. There's just the time and the training. Thankfully I'm like quite naturally a good swimmer. I'm probably as good at swimming as I am at running, and I have got quite a strong run base, I just still struggle on the bike a lot. It's my worst by heaps.
Why do you think that is? Is it just because just naturally, or it's just something, do you train less for that, or how what do you think that could be?
I think it's probably partly natural ability, but mostly it's just cycling is about time on the bike, and I just haven't had the time. I haven't done the miles. I haven't put the time in to be good at cycling, which is something I'm working at. But cycling is mostly about strength and time sitting on that saddle, and that's the only way you're going to get better, and I just haven't spent enough time on the bike.
Yeah, definitely. And I noticed you're also, because you finished university and now you're a PICU nurse? What is that?
So that's pediatric intensive care. So I look after children that are on life support, pretty much, and do the nursing care for them.
So that's a pretty intense lifestyle. How do you deal with all those pressures, going to Worlds, dealing with a very... Is it a stressful job?
Yeah, it's very, very stressful. I mean, I was trying to explain to someone about my job, and not every single shift, but a lot of times, a couple of times every month, you have to live through the absolute worst day of someone's life with them, and for you have to do it several times a year, probably more than that, and it is really hard, especially when you get attached to patients and then they die, and you are meant to be professional, and you're not meant to be, there's a professional boundary, but you're still, totally devastated that this child died. It's really hard and it's really stressful, and parents are stressed and they think you've got all the answers, or they get angry, so they're angry about the situation, so they get angry at you because I don't know, you're there to be yelled at. It's stressful, but I think doing the triathlon training really, really helps.
Do you think it's sort of like an outlet?
Yeah. Oh yes, definitely an outlet.
Even at like the high level that you're at, even though that it's still stressful up there, do you think even the stress it's sort of like a game in a way, and just feels like there's just one objective and you don't have all this stress? Or
I don't know. I really enjoy training. I don't know if that's weird or everyone else does. I literally enjoy every single training session I do. I mean,
no matter
sometimes
what sport?
Yeah, no matter what sport. Like sometimes I'm thinking, it's painful at the time, but I'm still enjoying myself.
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean. Sort of.
Yeah, so I don't really get stressed out. I mean, before really big events, like I am starting to get a bit stressed out about Worlds, because I will only have about 4 months training under my belt, where because I had to have 2 months off earlier in the year. So that is kind of stressful, but at the end of the day, you can, you're just going to take every day as it comes and do the sessions, enjoy it, and when you go to race, do as best you can. And I mean, I don't really get that. I'm not a very stressed out person, so I don't actually get that stressed out about racing. And then work, I have a very strong rule of if as soon as I come in the house, that it's, I can't think about it.
Yeah.
So,
how do you sort of do that? Because for myself, everywhere I go, I'm thinking about all the things that I do. How do you sort of compartmentalize your thoughts in that way? Like, how do you not stress out about work while you're at home?
I don't know. I just don't. I certain cases, yes, I do. Come home and have a little cry because the patient I've really connected with has died. But it's just the rule I have for myself. And if I start thinking about it, then I just say no, we're not thinking about that. And I used to ride my bike to and from work, which really, really helped. So if I had a really bad day, just pedal really hard and kind of go over whatever happened in the day. But I don't know. I just tell myself I'm not allowed to think about it, and it just becomes habit after years and years. So, yeah.
How do you deal? What would you say to someone who wants to become an elite triathlete, an elite what do you call it? Triathletist?
Triathlete.
Okay, I'm sorry. An elite triathlete or an elite runner or an elite swimmer. What advice would you have for someone looking to do that?
I would just say don't ever think that you can't do it. I've never ever met anyone who ever thought they were a good athlete, and this includes my old coach got third at the Olympics, and he said, I never thought I was a very good athlete.
Really?
You're pretty good.
Yeah.
To get third at the Olympics, get a bronze medal, but I've never met anyone who actually thought they were, themselves thought, oh, I'm good. There's usually someone better, and there's usually more and more goals to achieve. And what I've seen with the people that I know, they've gone to the Olympics, gone to Commonwealth Games, gone to World Champs, is that the people, it's there is the element of natural ability, but I would say it's a very small part of it. The people that are the best and do the best, they work the hardest. 100%. The ones that I know that are the best work the hardest, and I think it's all about training, not only about the amount of training and the dedication, but the quality of training. So having good coaching, good quality training, and being dedicated.
How do you get that good quality training? Because for myself, I used to think back when I was in year 13 and I really wanted to win cross country, I trained my heart out. That was the idea, right? And eventually I won cross country, and that was all jolly and good. But I did the majority of the training, I was going 100% all the time, and I think the quality was not that great. How do you get high quality training?
It's taken me. I don't even think I have very high quality training myself. I try to, and it's something that I think everyone just learns from their mistakes. Having a coach that you understand their methods and what they're doing really, really helps. For me, I try to think of triathlon as kind of swim, bike, run, transition, and then recovery. So I always think of recovery as one of your main disciplines. So, making sure you do your hard sessions hard, but also making sure your easy sessions are easy and you're not pushing yourself to prove nothing to no one. Like today, I had a hard swim and then a recovery run, and I was running. My coach sets me heart rate zone, so I was running in my zone, and at times I was running 6.5 minute Ks, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if someone sees me, they're going to think I'm running so slow. But at the end of the day, it's just training. It doesn't actually matter. I don't care if someone sees me, and it doesn't matter if you have to run slow to recover. I think that's what people don't understand, is that sometimes you have to go slow, sometimes you have to have a day off to let your body recover, so you can actually do good quality sessions when you have to go hard. And just ensuring that you're recovered for, not all of your sessions, but a lot of your sessions, you should be relatively-ish recovered. You should feel fresh, you shouldn't feel lethargic. I think when people are overtraining, that's when they don't do good quality training. And it's also when they start to really dread training, they don't want to go out. That's kind of what happens. So the good quality training is all about, just about making sure you're recovered, making sure you've got a coach that you understand what they're doing, and and just not overtraining as well.
How do you, when it comes to training for triathlons, is the sort of training you do like how you'd train for running, you train the majority of it pretty easy and then hard on a few runs, or is it the majority hard, a lot of it easy, or how does that sort of thing play out?
So when I was a runner, I was trained under Barry McGee, so he's very strong on the Lydiard method. Anyone who knows the Lydiard methods knows it's all about long, slow runs. So I think at one point I was doing about 130k a week of just running. And I got really, really, really strong, and I do like that method of doing lots of long, slow runs, and you do build up, which is usually hills, and then you do some speed work. And I've just started with a new coach beginning of this year, and she has a similar style. We do lots of long, slow runs and easy swims and bikes, long bikes, and then go into the next phase of building up strength. So for me, do hill reps or long. long reps.
Yeah.
And then after that, when you've got your strength up, you do your speed. So it's kind of like a triangle. You've got to get your base, and the next level is your strength, and then the next level is the speed. And so, the bigger base you've got, the higher your triangle is going to be. And yeah, that's kind of the theory that I believe in, that I enjoy doing. And this is that my coach, she also follows that. Not the exact Lydiard method, because obviously Arthur Lydiard was a running coach, but I think it's quite similar kind of ideals.
Arthur Lydiard was a New Zealander, right?
Yeah, so Arthur Lydiard coached Peter Snell, Bill Bailey, Gary Halberg, and Barry McGee, as well as a plethora of other very well-known athletes. And he actually helped Bill Bauman founded Nike. Jogging as a pastime was actually invented in New Zealand by Arthur Lydiard. Before Lydiard, people didn't go for jogs. Olympians never went for jogs. They would always do reps, or they wouldn't just go out for a run. But Arthur Lydiard kind of just experimented on himself and found that doing long, slow runs helped build up strength and build up fitness. And that's kind of where he got his kind of theories from. And now everyone does it. Everyone all around the world follows this ideal, to go for jogs. And Bill Bauman took that on a trip to New Zealand, met Arthur Lydiard, took that, theory with him to the States, and, used it as a base to find Nike.
Yeah, and completely, because back in, 1956 with Peter Snell and all that, we were cleaning house, weren't we? We were doing quite well in especially running. Yes, yeah, we were doing really well. I mean, Peter Snell came out from nowhere as a nobody. I'm not sure of his rank when he was going into the 1960s Olympics, but it was not very high. He came out of nowhere and won because everyone else was doing completely different training, and what he was doing was working, and obviously what we all do now. So when going into like a big race, like you're preparing for Worlds, when you're on the start line, how do you get those nerves in check? Because even when I was just doing small college level cross country races, I would be shaking the whole time. I'd be so scared. I hate the start of the race. Once the race has started, I'm completely fine. But do you have an issue with those nerves at the start of the race, or is that just not an issue?
No, I don't know. I don't get nervous. I do. I get more excited than nervous.
Really?
A few things that help is that I give myself a rule that I can't be nervous until I start warming up. Because there's no point using all your energy to be nervous about a race and then be tired because you were so nervous for it. And use a lot of energy being anxious for races. So I say, you can't be nervous till you start warming up. And then also I try to think of things that I can control when I am racing, things to focus on. Maybe I think, when I swim, I'm going to focus on my catch, and then that's what I think about. I don't think about, oh my gosh, when I get in the start and there's always people and I'm going to get knocked around. I just think, okay, I'm going to smash it to the first buoy, and then I'm going to think of my catch, and then that kind of puts me on a better mindset rather than it all just being overwhelming. But I don't ever get that nervous. When you do, as a runner, we raced every weekend. I think just racing so much, you kind of get over your nerves.
So just sort of doing that quantity of start lines, I guess.
I don't get that nervous. But I think it is about personalities, because one of my friends gets so nervous, ridiculously nervous. And she's done so many races, she's raced all over the world, and she'll get nervous for like the smallest race. I don't understand that. But I don't get nervous. And my brother as well, he used to be a cyclist, and he would never ever get nervous. Like my parents would be like, come on, go warm up, be productive in preparing for your race. Because he was just so blasé about racing. He was kind of the other end of the spectrum. And I think I'm probably more on the a bit blasé, a bit I don't get anxious, and I don't know why. I just try not to think about it.
So is that the main, I guess pre-race ritual or pre-race rule that you have when it comes to the day before a race or the week leading up to a race? How do you sort of prepare for that?
Oh, I'm not a good person to ask because I don't
Yeah.
really have any ritual. I mean, like, the only thing is, like, not to have fish and chips for dinner because one time I did, and then, like, both me and my partner, as we crossed the finish line, we vomited.
Really?
That's it. That's the only ritual I've got is to
Yeah.
not eat fish and chips.
Is it just fish and chips, or is it just certain meals that you know aren't going to go down well?
No, I mean, the only meal I've ever had that gave me that I vomited
Yeah.
with and made me sick was fish and chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't really have any rituals. Maybe go to bed a bit early. And I like to have all my bags packed for the next day because obviously triathlon races are at like 7 a.m. in the morning and you've got to get up at 5.
Yeah.
No, I don't really have any rituals. Maybe I have pasta for dinner. But if something else is going and it's not like ridiculously spicy or fatty, then I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll have that. Like whatever.
How big of a focus is nutrition? Because when I'm doing sort of weightlifting, bodybuilding training, a lot of the focus is on nutrition because it's so like weight based. But when I was doing just running, I didn't even worry about my nutrition. How much do you focus on nutrition?
Kind of a bit. I like try to eat healthy. Like I don't eat junk food.
Yeah.
Chocolate and lollies and fizzy drinks and stuff like that. But I don't have any specific diet that I follow. Like I do kind of follow. It's called Michael Pollan's food rules. I think it's what it's called. And it's just to kind of guide me in what I should and like it's what is healthy. Yeah. And it just says, eat mostly fruit and veggies and eat whole foods and like just common sense kind of things. Yeah. So I just follow that. But nutrition does play a big part in terms of, your body's recovery and keeping your weight up or, powering, getting enough muscle and making sure you've got enough, fuel for training sessions. Yeah. I think that's really important. I don't ever take any like supplements. Sometimes I have like a protein powder. Yeah. Maybe if I'm, struggling to fit in the calories for that day. I don't really have any sort of tips or tricks about nutrition.
Is there any sort of pre-race things? Like, because I know for myself, before a big workout, I'll take like a few shots of espresso, or some people take pre-workout. I don't really, but do you do anything like that?
I have a coffee before on race morning, maybe like 2 hours beforehand, and I just have like jam on toast. Yeah. Sometimes I have that. It's like caffeine gum.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I have that before races. But I usually have jam on toast like 2 hours before I race, and like a big coffee. Yeah. And then I also have like a gel right before the start.
Oh yeah.
And then I have gels also during the race. Yeah. Yeah.
How long are generally the races?
Depends how slow you are. For me, I mean, distance-wise, the race I do is a 1,500 meter swim, a 40k bike, and then a 10k run.
Oh yeah. So how many gels would you need to be taking during that whole race?
I take 2.
2 gels?
Yeah, 2.
So how long around would the race be in time?
Just over 2 hours.
Just over 2 hours. Okay. Oh yeah. Would you say, do you run, I guess maybe not for training, but do you run things like marathons, like half marathons?
Yeah, I do. I used to do a lot of half marathons before I did triathlon, but I still do quite a few, maybe 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah. When it comes to things like being young and doing things like half marathons and marathons, do you think it can be damaging for the body if you haven't really built up that base, or what's your opinion on that?
Honestly, anyone could go and run a half marathon right now, no matter what fitness you are. Like, it would take you ages, but you could probably walk/run it. I think it's when people, it's usually in training when people kind of damage themselves, doing too much too soon. Yeah. But I think going out and actually completing it is fine. It's just the training, which some people don't do well, or they go too hard too soon. Yeah. They don't listen to their bodies. They've got like a niggle or a pain, and they think, oh no, it's fine. I've got to keep training because I've got this half marathon in 2 months. But if it was me, if I had a niggle, I'd probably have a day off. Go see the physio, get it checked out, and then instead of keep pushing through and having to have a week off, I would have a day off. Yeah. Make sure it's fine, and then maybe do an easy day of training and then get back into it. Yeah. So
how much of that time, when you do start a really heavy training, like a few heavy months of training, how much recovery are you doing, and what sort of recovery is that?
For me, you've got your training, your recovery sessions in training, which is like easy runs, easy swims, easy bikes. Some people have days off. For me, because I do such long shifts, I work 12 hours.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my day off.
Really?
If I need, I use it as my day off. Otherwise, I do two. If I'm not working, I usually do 2 sessions.
Yeah.
But when you're fit, your body recovers so much quicker. So, I don't really feel like I need days off. Like my recovery isn't like as in a whole day off. But I do emphasize, rolling in the evenings and stretching. And if I've got a recovery session, I make sure it's a recovery session.
Yeah.
I don't push myself hard at all. And if I feel like crap and it's meant to be a recovery session, then I just stop and go home.
Yeah.
And also in saying that, if I've got a hard session and I feel absolutely rubbish, I'm not making my times, and it's not all, and completing the session would either, make me injured, make me more fatigued, make me just feel bad about myself, then I sometimes just stop and just, do an easy jog. Like, if you're not recovered, you're not going to train well. And if you keep trying to push through, then you're just never, ever going to get better. You're never going to get fit, and you're going to injure yourself. So that's kind of how I recover, is making sure I do the easy sessions easy.
Yeah. So how do you balance overtraining and training? How do you know when you're about to tip onto the edge of overtraining, and because I guess you want to be training the maximum amount at the most high quality level without stepping into the realm of overtraining? How do you stop that sort of step over?
Just listening to your body, I guess. Like I said about, making sure you do your recovery sessions easy. And also, there is times, like on Sunday, I was meant to have like a 3-hour ride, and I got 90 minutes into it, and I was like, whoa, I don't feel good. I feel like really dizzy. Obviously something's not right, whether it's overtraining or nutrition or something. So something's not right. So I just turned around, went home and slept for a few hours, and then by the time my next session came around, I was feeling really good. So overtraining is really hard. I feel when I was training before with my previous coach, I never felt fresh. I never felt good. I didn't enjoy training, and I think when you start losing the enjoyment of training, that's a good indicator that you're overtraining. I do 10 hours or so a week of training of, swim, bike, run, gym, whatever. And I never get sick of it. I never feel like I've done 2 hours of training today. And I don't feel like I've done heaps of exercise. Like I know I have, but I feel completely normal. I feel fresh. I could probably go out and run for 2 hours right now. So I think it's just making sure you don't get too fatigued. And when you're really overtraining, you can't sleep. You're in acidosis. You feel completely horrible. And you're just so full of lactic acid that you usually know because you can't sleep and you're all wired.
So for myself, when I used to do a lot of running, I found that a lot of the time after this was back when I was in year 13 of high school, I would go and do a long run, and after it, I would have, I was completely fine during the run, but I would have a mad stomach ache straight after the run, and I think it had something to do with my nutrition. Do you know anything about that?
Not really. I mean, I think a lot of the times you've got to train your body. So, for me, I can go and have a sandwich and then go and run literally out the door, be fine. And so I think, training your body to eat with food in it, and also your running position. Because, in your abdominal cavity, you've got lots of, organs, and each of those organs are in a little sack. And I think if you don't have good abdominal kind of strength, or you're kind of running in a weird position, you're leaning too far back, and, it's not compact enough, I think that's when a lot of people get sore stomachs because, all those abdominal organs are rubbing together. And I think, well, for me, that's what I think causes the stitch. It also, plays a role in having a sore stomach.
So when it comes to your training, how much of it would you say is stuff like doing cardio or doing hard cardio and doing easy cardio? And how much would you say, do you spend much time in the gym lifting weights, or is that sort of irrelevant in the training, or do you think it's productive?
So I probably spend around 25% of my time doing hard training, like
Yeah.
really hard, hard sessions. Obviously, it depends on where I am at in my, in my schedule
Yeah.
of my and then my phasing. But probably 25 to 30% of it would be actual like really hard stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of gym, I used to belong to a gym, but now I can't really afford it. I'm a bit poor, trying to go to Worlds,
Yeah.
paying for that. So
Yeah.
I just do body weight with like a medicine ball
Yeah.
and a yoga mat. And a Swiss ball and
Yeah.
do that. I do 3 times 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I do 3 times a week for 30 minutes. I
Yeah.
do body weight, so crunches and lunges and push-ups, just whatever body weight exercises. And I think strength is important.
Yeah.
Especially for triathlon.
Yeah. Do you think you should be? Do you think triathletes and runners and all that should be going into the gym trying to lift heavy weights, or do you think they should be going for volume, or what sort of stuff should that be?
I don't think heavy weights, because you don't really need to build. I mean, you do need to build muscle, but you need to be building efficient muscle.
Yeah.
So I would probably opt for lower weight,
Yeah.
but more.
Yeah. Is that just because you want to have the most efficient weight to power ratio sort of thing?
Yes, and
Yeah.
definitely for triathlon, when on the bike, power to weight is so important.
Really? Because
So
would it
power to weight's
be
very important.
as important when you're running, or is?
Yeah, kind of when you're running. I mean,
Yeah.
but being lighter in running helps way more than in cycling. You could
Yeah.
be really, really skinny, but if you got no power, you're not going to go up the hill. Like, you're not going to go fast. Much more power to weight ratio matters a lot more in cycling than running.
So how do you balance being a PICU nurse and being a triathlete? Because they're both very intense things and they're both very taxing. How do you sort of balance that, and how do you sort of pick and choose when to do what if there is a clash?
Like for me, work comes before triathlon. It probably doesn't seem like it, but triathlon actually comes way down the list in terms of my life priorities.
Yeah.
Like my family and my friends, are at the top.
Yeah.
And my work, comes second, and university studies and stuff like that that I'm doing as well will come into that. And then triathlon's kind of like, and my health and stuff, is there as well. But triathlon is kind of just down the bottom. Like, I don't. At the end of the day, if I couldn't do it, I wouldn't be super distraught. Like, it's not as if I'm going to the Olympics or anything.
Yeah. Worlds is still
so-
a very high level though. I feel like once you get to that level, you don't realize how much you've achieved and how like hard it is to get there. Do you sort of realize that, or is it sort of like, okay, I'm here now, where's the next step, or just sort of, yeah, I'm here, or how does that sort of work?
Yeah, I appreciate where I'm at, and I always achieving want to achieve more. Like this year I want to kind of get some podium finishes and stuff like that within New Zealand. But I just think, I enjoy training, I enjoy racing, I'll just do it, and if I do well, then that's great, and if I don't, well, whatever. Like I'm probably not like majority of triathletes.
Yeah. Do you think the majority are more like, hustle, get places, etc., and more top priority sort of thing?
Yeah, especially because I see it much more in triathlon than running, because triathlon is so time consuming, it is so expensive. If you want to do it, you pretty much have to do it all out. If you want to get to a certain level, you can't do it half-heartedly. You have to give everything up to do it. Whereas running, you can still work, and I mean you can work at least part-time and run. A lot of people work full-time. My partner, he works 40-50 hours a week and then runs 15 hours a week. So he's crazy, but he also makes it relatively achievable. Whereas triathlon, you can't. If you want to be elite, or you want to be racing at the Olympics, or even in the ITU circuit, you have to give everything up to do it. But for me, I just kind of do it for fun and happy to do it at the level that I'm at.
When it comes to like training, do you find that when it comes to you being disciplined and finding or sort of picking what you're training, how do you pick the ratio of swimming to running to biking? How do you sort of pick that, or does your coach sort of work that out?
It's a bit of a collaboration. So my coach is my schedule, but at the start of the season, we'll have a kind of a sit down chat, and also during the season, and just say, oh, this is what I want to focus on.
Yeah.
These are my main goals for this season. These are the events I want to go to, and she will, make my schedule around that. So at the moment, I'm doing quite a lot of cycling to get my cycling up, and strong for Worlds. She emphasizes the cycling in my schedule, and so it's kind of how it works. And then, later on towards the end of the triathlon season, I always have a lot of running put in there because running is a way that I, pass people at the end. The bike's where I kind of lose it a bit, but at the run, I can get 5 minutes or even more some people. So usually when it comes to the big races for triathlon, we often focus on just the running. But it just depends on what races I want to do and what myself I feel like I need to work on and what she thinks I need.
So with like when you're in a race, when it comes to swimming, biking, running, are you going 100% for all of them? Well, considering distance, but are you going 100% for all of them and pushing all the time for all three sports, or do you pick your strength and go hard on that, or how does that work?
For swimming, you go absolute hundies till the first buoy. Well, I do. I don't know if this is right. I go like 100% till the first buoy to get around, so I can get around that buoy and not get stuck behind the masses.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just relax. I just think about, swimming is about technique, most of it. So I just think about my technique, think about, when I was warming up, I was thinking about those things I wanted to work on, my catch or whatever. So at that time I think, okay, what am I going to work on? What's going to help me relax? Because you're not going to swim very well if you're all tense and you're just flailing around. And then the bike, I just go steady. And then the run, the last like 5Ks, I'm going like 100%. Yeah. I'm sure if I was fitter, I'd be able to go harder for longer. Yeah. When I do sprint distance, it's like 100% pushing whole time. But it kind of, for me, in terms of if you were just running, it's more like a half marathon pace. Yeah. Kind of you're pushing, but you're not like smashing yourself, and your body is fatiguing as well as your breathing.
Is that just because you've already been fatigued from the other sports that you've done, or the other races?
And I think you just can't push like 100% that whole time when you're doing standard distance. I mean, the bike alone is like an hour, and you're using so many different muscles. Especially when you're coming off the bike, you're quite fatigued. It takes like a K or so. For me, it takes about a K to kind of get into running mode and start pushing myself on the run. I always feel like I'm like pushing, but I'm not like. It's hard to explain, I guess.
Not pushing to a negative point.
I had a coach at high school, and he would call it going fishing. So I'm always fishing, always trying to reel in the next person.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not like. I'm going within my abilities that I, know I can finish the race. But after 5K, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go and push myself and not think about where I'm at, not think about time, not think about anything. I'm just pushing in the end.
So when it comes to like during race, do you have things like heart monitors, like stuff like that, to sort of track your timing and track your pace, or do you go purely on feel, or how does that work?
So I do wear a heart monitor when I race. It's more for my coach, so she can see what's gone on when I've raced. When I'm racing, I just go on feel. On the bike, I try to look at my powers, and I definitely look at my cadence on the bike. You don't want to be pushing too high of a cadence and too high of a power. You want to be kind of getting them. You want to have a good cadence and a good power. Because if you drop your cadence and your power is too high, when you get to the run, your legs are just completely smashed. So I definitely watch that on the bike, and on the run. No, I kind of look at the pace a little bit because I, want to be hitting like 4-minute Ks. But I don't really look at anything when I'm, and I do wear a heart rate monitor, but that's more for my coach to look at trends and stuff, what happened during the race.
So it's mainly just off feel and all that sort of stuff, just sort of knowing when to slow down a bit, when to speed up, sort of.
Yeah, definitely on feel. Pretty much on feel.
So when it comes to living with your partner and sort of being surrounded by the whole competitive triathlete and running community, do you think that helps you be more competitive?
Kind of. I guess there's people I guess if your friends are training, you're gonna train because you want to see your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, but surprisingly, me and my partner at home, we never talk about sport. We don't really talk about each other's goals and what we've done for training or at all. It doesn't really make a difference. But seeing him do so well does encourage me, and seeing my friends do well, makes me want to do well also. It probably does help because, when you go down to a race, you're hanging out with your friends and you get to catch up with people you haven't seen for a while. So in terms of that, it helps. But I don't really think, this person's doing well and I used to be like them. I want to try beat them. Maybe at one point in time I was like that, but now I'm kind of like, I don't really care.
Sort of just more relaxed and just enjoying the whole experience.
Yeah. But I think when you've got friends to enjoy that experience with them, it's easier.
Yeah. When you are running and when you are training heaps and when you are working heaps and going through tough times and always having to push for all these things, how do you keep a positive mindset?
I guess it is quite hard. Like I've just had a pretty bad year. Like I was, I wouldn't say hit by a car more than I ran into a car in March, and I had a concussion and I was out for 2 months.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't work, I couldn't train, all I did was lie in my room, and I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was really hard to stay positive then.
Yeah.
And I think that experience kind of helps me now because I'm so thankful. If I can go for a half an hour run, I'm like, oh man, I'm thankful I can go for a half an hour run. At work, I could be having a really horrible day, a really stressful day, but I'm always like, grateful that at least, I can work the amount of hours that I'm working. I only a few months ago I could only work 3 hours, and now I'm up to working 8 hours. I'm just grateful for what I can do and don't think about what I can't do, because if you're always thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I can't do that, then you're going to be really stressed out about everything.
Yeah, so how do you get over injuries like that and get over just minor injuries and also a major injury like that? What do you do from there?
Oh, I mean, it is really, really hard.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, I'm quite absorbed into the community of triathlon, and when you're injured, you not only lose the ability to train, but you kind of get out of touch with all of your friends, and that, I think, that makes it nearly as hard as the actual not being able to train, is the fact you don't see, your friend. You see your friends at training because everyone's busy, and the only time you've got time to see people is at training. Yeah. And when you can't train, you don't see your friends, and so you become quite isolated. That's nearly the hardest part about being injured. And in terms of like big injuries, so like this time last year I was actually hit by a car, and then in March I ran into a car and hit my head. Those were quite big injuries for me, and it's just, you just got to get over yourself. Like it's just so hard to say, but you just got to pick yourself up. You just got to look forward. You can't be thinking, oh, what about this, what about that? You've just got to do the best you can with what happened, with what you've got, and try to recover as well as possible. And not try to dwell on the situation and not feel sorry for yourself, because you're just going to be miserable. Whereas if you feel like, I mean, for me, I like to kind of take control of the situation. So, kind of think, okay, what things can I do to get better as fast as possible.
So when it comes to the three different sports, is there sort of an aspect of you thinking, hey, why don't I just go back to running, or hey, why don't I just do one, or what makes you think that the three is always going to be, or what makes you want to do the three instead of just focusing in on one?
Well, if I was going to do one, it would just be running, because definitely wouldn't be cycling and swimming. You can't, I mean, unless I did open water swimming, you can't, like, I'm 24 now. I've definitely passed the age where I could do swimming. I don't know. I just, not to be mean, but I don't want to be with my partner at home and then training and then at races. Like, it's quite nice to have some kind of separation of myself. And a different whole, when I ran, his friends were my friends, and we were part of the same community, and we were all on the same committees, and we were there together all the time. Whereas triathlon, I feel like I've got a bit more of myself, like I'm part of the triathlon community, which he's not like a part of, obviously, because he's just
Yeah.
So that's kind of one part that keeps me just wanting to stay in doing triathlon, because it's kind of like part of my identity now, doing triathlon and being a triathlete. And, I really enjoy it, and I really, enjoy doing the 3 different sports. It's better than doing 9 hours of running a week.
Do you find it is sort of your, I guess, you time and your relaxing time and your, like, compared to other people, like other people might have their time where they watch TV or something, or like for myself, it's me when I go to the gym, that's sort of my time and my time to relax and just enjoy what I'm doing. Is it sort of like that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I just, if I've got to run, like, I look forward to it, put my headphones on, put on, music that I like, and just go and relax. Like, I find it relaxing. Obviously, if I'm doing like a massive session, I don't, but majority of the time I feel I enjoy it and I feel relaxed, and I'm like, this is me time, and I really enjoy it. And it's my time to kind of enjoy my own company.
Too right. I definitely found when I was running, it was sort of just, no matter what I was doing throughout the day, and no matter how busy my schedule was, if I had time to get a run in, and I had time to just run and just enjoy and just sort of do my stuff and just do that, and then just sort of completely, I guess in a way, zone out. I found that helped as well. So if you had, what would your main piece of advice be for someone looking to become a successful athlete?
I would say just give it a go.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I would have not thought that I would be going to Worlds and doing as well as I am. I remember being away at a running race with a triathlete, and she was telling me about her training, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. Where do you find the time? I could never do triathlon. This is probably 4 years ago. So just before I started doing triathlon myself. And then I see her around now, and I'm like, oh, I do the same amount of training as you. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I never thought I would be where I am now unless I was like, oh, just give it a go. So, just give it a go. You never know. You might be good at it. And I would say, have those goals, have, the goals you want to achieve in sight, but enjoy yourself on the way. You're not going to achieve your goals if you're miserable the whole time you're doing it.
So do you think definitely focusing on the actual parts of the sport that you enjoy and the actual sports that you enjoy, rather than doing it solely for just the medals and all that?
Yeah, if you're doing it just for the medals, you're not going to last very long.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know those school kids, whose parents were pushy, and as an adult, I mean, where are they now? They're not running, they're not doing, whatever sport they were doing. They're enjoying themselves, partying, because they don't have to do the sport that they hated doing. I think you've got to do it because you enjoy it, not because you want to get the medal. I mean, obviously you need to have goals, but that can't be the only reason you're doing it.
Too right, definitely. I definitely think, like, there's a lot of people that come to me saying, hey James, I would love if you would help me learn how to go to the gym. I really hate the gym, but I want to get fit. And then they tell me that, and then it doesn't make me want to sort of teach them how or advise them to go and do it, because obviously they're just not going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think when it comes to sport, you've got to find something you enjoy and that you're going to be able to do long term. If I didn't actually enjoy doing triathlon, then I wouldn't be doing it for 10 hours a week for the last 3 years. There's no way it would drive me insane. So I think if anyone can be competitive in a sport, and if you've got the time, then you definitely 100% can do really, really well. But you've got to make sure it's something you enjoy.
Definitely. I think I'll probably cap it off here. Thank you so much for coming on. You're a great guest. I loved how you could. I thought you were mainly like a full-time triathlete, but then I found out that you were also a PICU nurse. And are you also still doing study?
Yeah, so as
That's
well as with
absolutely insane.
I do a postgrad dip, and I'm also like a lecturer for undergrad nursing students.
So you're wow. How do you balance that sort of schedule? Because I have like three things that I have that are my main priorities, and then one is this podcast, and that takes up maybe 1 hour a day, and then I have uni, and I currently am not working. So how do you balance your schedule?
Oh, I don't know. I just very like good time management, I guess. Like even today, my days can be completely planned. Like before I get up or before I go to bed the previous night, I think, okay, I've got to get up at 6 to be at swimming by 7, and then I finish swimming at 8. I'll probably be at my parents by 8:30. I'll start my run at 9, finish at 10, have a shower, be ready by 10:30. I've got to go pick up some stuff at my friends at 11, be back by 12, study for I'll have some lunch, study for around 4 hours, take my dog to the vet, and then have a half an hour break, and then talk to you.
So do you plan that in an app, or do you just sort of mentally go over it?
I just do it in my head. Yeah.
I have like a whole setup. I use Apple Calendar and it syncs to my iPhone, and I plan every single hour of my day, and I still don't think I can get as much done as you seem to get done. It's absolutely insane. Do you find that the work you're doing is much higher quality?
What do you mean in terms of
in terms of training, actually at work, studying? How do you find you sort of make the time more productive and you get more done by making that time that you are spending, I guess, working towards all those different things very high quality?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you've got limited time, you've got to be pretty efficient. Like when I'm studying, it's always efficient studying. I'm not like faffing around, reading something, and if it's not working for me, then I just stop doing it and find a new way to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously at work, I've just got to go and do my hours. So it doesn't really matter how efficient I am, as long as I'm there.
Yeah.
And with training, like I won't, if there's someone who really faffs about, I probably will be like not train with them.
Picking and choosing what is actually working and what is being productive and efficient. Yeah,
definitely. And with training, you can muck about heaps and it takes up so much time, but I'm just like, get in, get out, get it done, go home.
How do you find those people that sort of make training productive and make it not so? Because I find sometimes I'll go to the gym with people and they will just completely want to talk the whole time. And is that sort of what you mean by like mucking about and not really getting into it?
Yeah, with cycling, it's like a lot of the times we have to like stop at the top of hills and like someone's like, oh, let's get a coffee. And I'm like, oh, let's just go home. That kind of stuff I don't really, I mean, to a certain point you've got to stop and wait for people, especially when you're cycling because there's lots of different abilities. But yeah, I don't know. People just wanting to stop all the time. Like, oh, I need to stop. I need to eat. And and like it runs. I don't know. People just mucking about. I don't know how to explain it.
But people just sort of wasting, like if you have an allocated slot and they're just wasting a lot of it and then sort of just making it all just less efficient. Do you find that running, are you able to cycle solo, or is it sort of more safe in a group?
I usually do my rides solo. Like on Sundays, if I'm really, really tired, sometimes I use Sunday as like a sleep-in day, or kind of, till like 7 or 8.
7. What time are you normally getting up?
6. And 6 is late for a triathlete. Most triathletes will get up 5:30. Some
Is that just because it's good to train early in the morning and then you train in the afternoon or something?
Yeah, I think so. And because swimming, like I'm lucky that my swim squad starts at 7.
Yeah.
Most swim squads start at 6, but I'm lazy. So I used to go to 8 o'clock one, but then it would take me all till 12 o'clock to get my morning training done.
Yeah.
So I just decided to go to the 7 o'clock one.
Yeah.
But most triathletes get up way earlier than me. 6 is like kind of standard, or I don't know. I feel like it's pretty standard.
You seem very like, I guess, relaxed about it and not too focused on the actual like I guess medals and performances and more just enjoying it. How do you sort of keep that mindset?
So growing up, I was like one thing you probably don't know about me, although you might know seeing my Instagram, is that I'm Chinese.
Yeah.
So my parents, especially my dad, who's the Chinese one, is very intense.
Yeah.
I used to be a really intense tennis player until I was for 10 years.
Yeah.
From when I was 5 until I was 15, like
Really?
hours and hours and hours out on the tennis court, serving. Like I would have to serve, I don't even know how many, like hundreds of balls after school out on the tennis court. And on top of that, I also did music. So I remember there was a stage where I got up at 6 a.m. in the morning, got ready for school, and then once everyone else got up for school, I would do like an hour of music practice every morning. And then when I got home from school, I'd do another half an hour, and then I'd be doing like an hour or 2 hours of tennis, and then like study, and then doing my homework. Like just classic Asian.
Yeah, like complete pure discipline. Do you like I guess are you grateful for that now, or do you think it was sort of just like when you come to think like things like tennis now, do you still like tennis, or is it that thing that you're like, no, completely hate it?
Will not even play socially. And like the worst thing was when I finished playing tennis, when I quit, people like knew I was good at a good tennis player and wanted me to kind of play for their teams, and I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it just put me off playing a competitive sport. Like it took me a long time. I think that's why with running it took me quite a long time to get into it.
Yeah.
Because I was just so over super competitive sport. I was just like, I just was done.
Yeah.
It took me like 5 years to get back into it.
Yeah. Because definitely for myself, I've never been really, really competitive at sports. I've I've pushed myself and tried to go to, I compete against myself, but I've never been at that. I've never really been forced to be competitive at a sport in a way. Do you think that has made you less competitive when it comes to triathletes, like sort of giving you a quite sort of relaxed mindset about it?
Maybe. I guess because I've done the whole competitive thing and I didn't really enjoy it. Like I would say I'm still I still compete competitively.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna it doesn't eat me up inside if I did a race and someone beat me and I thought I was going to beat them. I'm just like, oh, okay, they beat me. What do I have to do now to beat them the next time? I was like, oh, okay. And like my brother, he was a top cyclist. Like he won nationals for schools when he was cycling, and he did really well as a when my parents were hard up pushing him, but then he had to have a year off because he was like, no, I'm done. I'm gonna quit. I can't handle this anymore. Yeah. And then he came back in his 7th form year, and I don't know if he won nationals, but I think he got second or third and did really, really well because he actually enjoyed it. Yeah. He was like kind of like me, just like not super competitive about it, but obviously was competitive because he was placing. Yeah. But he did it because he wanted to, and he had his goals because he wanted to do it, and I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, definitely for myself. Like I used to do tons. Well, I used to do a decent amount of running, but then after a while, I realized a lot of the time I was not enjoying the type of running that I was doing, and sort of now I've realized I want to be doing things like half marathons, but a lot of the training I'd rather be doing is stuff like weightlifting. And I find definitely now the time I'm spending in the gym, I'm enjoying every second of it. But when I'm running, there would be times when I would think about going out there and like going for a run, and it would not be something I'd want to do. But back when I really wanted to smash cross country and absolutely obliterate everyone, it was all I wanted to do. It was all I thought about. But now it's like, in a way, it doesn't really appeal as much, just because I don't know. Maybe it's just more. I want to just gym all day, just because it's way more relaxed and just way more not so static. Do you find with triathlons and stuff? Do you find, since it's a lot of the training is you are either cycling, you're running, or you're swimming? Do you ever get bored of the training?
No, never. Like I look forward to every session I do.
Yeah. How do you?
Which I'm probably really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I look forward to it.
It's definitely a good thing though, because it's better than dreading 90% of the sessions, or because I don't know much about like the Olympic community, but people like at that sort of level, I can't imagine they're all loving every second of training or all that. Do you think most of them are sort of enjoying every second of their training and loving it, or do you think they do it just because they think this is something they need to do? Or
I think definitely at Olympic level, no one's doing it because they don't enjoy it. Obviously, they're not loving every second. Yeah. But they definitely would enjoy the feeling that they get from working hard. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think from the people that I have met that are, world-class athletes, they do it because they love it and they love pushing themselves and they love the feeling they get from working hard. Yeah. They might be thinking, oh my God, I love running like 2400s, but once it's done, they probably are thinking, this is a great feeling. I pushed myself. I've done this hard, I've done it as well as I could. I paced myself really well. I've got that feeling of accomplishment. That's probably what keeps them going. Yeah. And, that does it for me as well. Yeah. I mean, if I've got a really hard session, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm loving this. I feel like I'm done. It's once I'm done. And I think, I've done a really good job. I've done, I've done my target, made my targets. I've done all I can, worked my hardest, sense of accomplishment. Yeah.
So I'll probably because I don't want to take all your time out, because I know you're incredibly busy and you've got a very, very packed schedule, and I hope that you just keep it all on all in control. I'd just like to ask you one more question. When it comes to making sacrifices to be a triathlete, do you think, is there ever times where you're thinking, are the sacrifices worth it, or is it sort of the sacrifices come easy, or?
I don't know. I don't really feel like I make any sacrifices. Like, it's kind of like, you know, when you go on a diet and it's like if you feel like you're never going to lose weight if you're on a diet, you've got to change your whole lifestyle. It's kind of like that. Like, I don't ever feel like I'm missing out on anything. Yeah. I mean, I've got a few friends that aren't triathletes, but they busy in their own way, and so we don't really catch up that much, but we try to see each other at least once a month. But I mean, I've never really been the kind of person to go out and party like I did in high school and whatever, and uni, went out to town and whatever, but now I'm like, oh my god, everyone's hair is like so young. I mean, like, even though I'm 24, I'm just like, whoa, I don't know, and I'm not really that kind of personality to go out and party. And I don't really feel like there's much that I'm missing out on. I'm probably sure the people I work with are probably like, oh my god, she's so weird, she just goes and trains and she doesn't go out and party. But I don't know, I feel like when people don't have goals or things they're working towards, they spend a lot of time just doing nothing, and they don't make the most of their time.
Do you, like, when it comes to your goal setting, are you writing things down, or is it sort of just a subconscious sort of thing?
Like, I should be writing them down because I don't know, people say you should. It's just in my mind. Really.
I definitely, like, I think a lot of the things people say, like, oh, you must write your goals down, I think it's different for everyone, because, like, for a long time I didn't write them down, and even when I do write them down, I just forget. So it's like, I don't know how much of an impact it really has. So yeah, and
I think goals, you've got to change them. Before I hit my head, I was hoping for a top 10 at Worlds, or like a top 5 actually, and then now I'm like, you know what, my goal is to get there, and then potentially it's still 7 weeks away. I don't know what form I'm going to be in. My goal might change. I might go back to thinking, oh, maybe I could do a top 10. I could be thinking, oh my gosh, I hope I just finish. I don't know what the goal is going to be. My goals are always changing. So, I don't really. I've got like goals, but they're always changing. Depending on the situation.
Thank you very much for coming on. This is a hearty interview. I hope I do not. I feel like I do not want to take too much time out of your schedule. Do you find? Because I find even just for myself, I'm in my first year of university studying. I'm just studying podiatry at AUT, and it's like the schedule is not that intense right now, but I'm still finding it's still hard to keep up.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't sleep much. Although I get 8 hours sleep. I don't know. I just don't muck about. My family's really about like not using the most of your time. Don't muck about. Get stuff done. So I think I've just got that attitude. So like now, I mean, all I got to do this afternoon or this evening is like go make dinner and then eat dinner when my partner gets home, and then until he gets home, I'll probably study, and then we'll eat dinner and then study after dinner, and then watch some TV and go to bed.
So it's a lot of discipline. I think that it's probably a huge factor in your success, because you're doing all these things, but do you feel like does it feel like work?
No, I probably am naturally disciplined, so it doesn't seem like it's hard work to do it all, because I'm just like, oh, it's just naturally what I've been brought up doing, which I think is like, I mean, some of those tiger moms are crazy, and you've probably met some like Chinese people. I don't know if it's like all Asian cultures, but like Chinese in particular, it's all about, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do piano and
super
study.
High achievement.
It's probably, I mean, that is definitely part of the kind of Chinese culture. So for me, it kind of just comes naturally. I don't think about it.
Definitely, because my family is way more relaxed. Everyone in my family, it's pretty chill. It's like, okay, we'll leave you on your own. You do you, sort of. And the main places where I get my discipline is just from external places where I see, oh, these people have all these goals and they're doing things that I want to be doing. So it's sort of, I realized that I need the discipline, and I'm trying to create it. But a lot of the time, like disciplining myself to study, that still is very hard for me.
Yeah, studying is so hard. Like, I've got an exam next week. It's not actually a uni one. It's just like exam that I'm doing for nursing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I just can't wait for it to be done so I don't have to study so much.
Yeah.
So I can have a break. I don't know, and like the fact that there are breaks every now and then with
Yeah.
uni kind of keeps me going, and with triathlon training,
Yeah.
once I finish Worlds, I'll probably have 2 weeks off,
Yeah.
and
And then
Very
straight
nice.
back into it.
yeah, probably. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Get bored otherwise.
I do the Auckland half marathon, so
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to do a good time there. So
Yeah.
it's very shortly after, I think end of
Is
October.
it? I think it's
And
30,
there's race.
31st.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And then the triathlon season starts in November.
Yeah.
So not much time.
pretty big schedule. Sweet as. Sweet.
Yeah.
I hope you have a good rest of your night, Trey. Hopefully you relax a little bit. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on. This was it was a very good conversation because I don't usually get to talk to people that do these kind of sports. The majority of the people that I get on here are like they're all weightlifters and they're all doing like powerlifting and bodybuilding, but I don't get a lot of people doing this sort of sports. So it's quite a different variety of people, which is quite cool. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I certainly got a lot of takeaways out of it because I know that conversation with her sort of taught me how to be more relaxed when I am stressed out and when things are really getting to me and all that kind of things, and how training differs from different disciplines and when to know to just relax and not take everything so seriously. That's one of my main takeaways. And I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I would love if you would subscribe to the podcast on Podbean, iTunes, or even subscribe to my YouTube channel if that's where you're watching this. And I would also love if you'd leave a review. That means so much to me and it helps me out so much. I don't think I've got one yet, but I'm working towards my first review. Sweet as. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode, and I'd also love if you would check Charlotte out on her social media. I will leave that in the show notes or the description if this is on YouTube or on Podbean. It is also in the show notes. So yeah. And I would also love if you would check me out on my social media, on my Instagram, Facebook, blog, all that kind of stuff. Sweet as. So thank you guys very much for listening, and have a good night.